Nobody that accelerates like he does on a climb. Michele Scarponi, very good, but he couldn't even match the acceleration. Took him a while to get there.
That's John Gaudret, or AG2R, just ahead of this group, as Contador and Ruano are under 3K left now.
I do not see Gaudret getting away from that group.
Look at the gap. It's up to almost 1 minute.
Wow.
So Contador looks like he's in position to go into the rest day wearing the pink jersey with the overall lead. Perhaps a big gap back to the other GC riders, and the big mountain still to come in the final 2 weeks of this year's Giro.
This is such a big gap for Contador right now that it's almost going to be impossible for anybody else to even vie for the race win. If he gets to the finish line and gets a time bonus, he could have a minute 30 over the next best guy.
And the thing about all the big mountains in the final week is Gaudret tries to hang on off the front. Yes, they are decisive stages, but the problem is if you give Contador too much time now, you're not going to be able to bring it back on those stages. You're going to have to just hope that Contador has some kind of disastrous day.
That's the only way you would bring it back. You wouldn't get it just by outriding him. It would have to be a bad day. Kreuziger now is hit out. He's decided it's time to go.
He's got to limit the loss here. The gap up to almost a minute, coming down on the final 2K. Roman Kreuziger comes to the front, followed by Gaudret. Scarponi is way back. His teammate is ahead. Primoslav Nimic is the second in the line here for Lampre, followed by Vincenzo Nibali, then Scarponi.
Nimic's a great hire for the Lampre team. First year on the squad, and look at all the work he's been doing, and he's pulling back Kreuziger now.
What are these guys thinking right now? How much time do they have to, how much time do they have to stay within Contador to still have some kind of sense of belief?
You always have to believe, but honestly, they know that they're outclassed here today. And they know that Contador is so good. He can time trial well. He can gain time. It seems almost at will on these mountains.
Now these are the riders at the back. The riders that have done the work and now struggling.
That's the last we'll be seeing of Nimic in this group.
Now the flag's starting to blow, so more wind at the top. That's always a concern when you get to the top of the volcano. The wind can pick up. It can be very gusty.
That's Kirienka now riding for Movistar and trying to do tempo for his teammates, but guys kind of coming apart.
Now
these two gaps.
These two, Contador and Ruano, inside the final 2K. Ruano has not taken a pull.
Remember, it does have a little bit of a downhill when they get to 1K to go, and then it kind of sort of bumps around, and there's an uphill for the final 250 meters after a hairpin left turn.
Now Michele Scarponi.
Oh, look at the size of that gear.
Wow.
That is really not a pretty sight to see him looking like that.
A guy who said he came to this Giro to win, and now Contador is riding away from him and everybody else trying to drop Ruano with 1.5 kilometers left to go, and look at Contador ride.
This may be it for Ruano. Contador really doesn't want this man sitting on his wheel and then out sprinting him. Contador has opened the gap.
He had tried to get Ruano to work with him, but Ruano just refused to do so Contador leaving him behind.
Says, look, buddy, either pull or I'm going to punch your ticket. You make the choice.
Big story now is Contador is going to win the stage. He's going to be in the pink jersey. The biggest question, how much of a gap to the other top GC riders? Now, the Italian newspapers really criticized Contador a few days ago, saying that he couldn't follow the late accelerations at the first summit finish by Michele Scarponi. And Contador, as he often has done throughout his career, he takes those criticisms, those negatives that come from the outside world, he channels them into his racing. It lights his competitive fire, and he usually performs on race day, and that's what he's doing here today.
And really, those criticisms were completely off base anyways. Here comes Nibali attacking now. Nibali going.
Vincenzo Nibali The Movistar rider Kirienka trying to respond. Contador still at the front of the stage. Ruano trying to get onto his back wheel, but it's a futile effort right now.
And those criticisms, the reason they were off base is because that wasn't his type of climb. He prefers a long climb that's steeper. Of course he's going to shine today. Here comes Nibali on the attack.
Well, there is that third place time bonus that's up for grabs, plus trying to limit the damage. That's what Nibali is thinking right now. Contador looking extremely good inside the final kilometer, racing ahead to the stage win. Ruano is second on the road, then Nibali. Little downhill here, and then it pitches back up in the final 250 meters to the line.
And Nibali just with that slight groove gap over the chasers there.
Approaching 1 kilometer left to go for Vincenzo Nibali, and when you're in damage control mode, that third place time bonus could really be big.
It sure could. That'd be... Every second counts for these guys, and you got to think, well, maybe today I didn't have the best day, but there are options coming up.
Alberto Contador, what a statement on stage 9. Second summit finish, makes that big turn we talked about at 250 meters. And a psychological blow, to say the least. For the second day in a row, he attacks late, but this one, the more demonstrative of the two attacks. It's going to get him the stage win, the race lead. Alberto Contador, after 5 hours, is the winner of stage number 9.
A huge psychological blow to everybody else. Ruano hangs on for second.
Now let's see who gets third.
Remember that left turn, very tricky in a group. Kreuziger now leading these men in.
Nibali been brought back into this group. Kreuziger, Garzelli, Kirienka, Nibali. Now the clock is counting. 8-second time bonus on the line here for whoever crosses third. Ruano has already made it across in second.
Garzelli looks like he's going to lead him through. Look at how tight this corner is. And that last uphill kick, Garzelli with a nice acceleration. Nibali on the left, also gunning for it.
Now Stefano Garzelli trying to hang on. Nibali coming around him. Over 45 seconds already passed since Contador crossed the line. And it looks like Garzelli maybe just inched out Nibali for third. But that is just inside of 1 minute back of Contador, the winner of the stage on the climb to Mount Etna. Boy, oh boy. The most animated day of racing so far. Alberto Contador, the big blow on stage 9. 2011 edition, looking pretty good. I mean, when Contador wants to go, it's almost like nobody can go with him.
We're seeing right in front of our eyes why he's won the last 5 Grand Tours he's participated in. He's got everything it takes. He's got those accelerations on the climbs, and then he can still hold it after he puts in that massive acceleration, and no one else can do that.
And this is just the second summit finish. The big mountains are still to come, and when he launched that initial acceleration, Scarpone matched him for a brief period of time. Scarpone eventually fell off the pace, but nobody else even chased Contador at that point.
And it really, I mean, the race is far from over. We're only 9 days in. There are a lot of summit finishes to go. But today already makes it look like it's Contador's to lose, and everybody else has to scramble and figure out how the heck they can beat that guy after the end of these races.
All right, well, a lot of action inside the final few kilometers, but let's take you back a little bit and show you how today unfolded. 2 times up Mount Etna, largest active volcano in Europe, and a large group of 9 men. Largest breakaway group at the Giro so far this year, establishing the early tone to the race.
And that group setting a very nice pace, which kept everybody above what was expected, including the pink jersey of the man who later on would be dropped.
Peter Veining of Rabobank riding alongside Vincenzo Nibali for a while. And Alberto Contador, at this point, just sort of biding his time, riding along in the field.
There was a lot of that today, even on the final climb. Nobody showing that they were going to go for it.
And then that 9-man breakaway would come apart, and it would be reduced to a group of just 4. And this was inside the final 15K, where eventually the pink jersey of Peter Veining could not follow any longer. He was done, and he knew that his 4-day run in the pink jersey would also come to an end.
The last man from that breakaway, Jan Bakelants, looked like he still had some bit of a chance if the guys were tactical behind, but then Contador really lit up the race.
First big move by a GC contender on the day, Alberto Contador. launching from the field, looking over to see who would come, and at first it was Scarponi.
And Scarponi struggled a bit to get across, but you were wondering just how much that took out of him to make it up to Contador, and it wasn't long before we found out it took a lot out of him.
As Contador would drop Scarponi, Jose Ruano of Androni Giocattoli had attacked earlier, so he was already up the road when Contador attacked, and he got onto the back wheel of Alberto. And then they come up and pass Jan Bacalans, the last rider from the day's 9-man breakaway.
Just about 3.5 miles to the summit for that, and Contador finally goes alone from Ruano, who refused to do any work.
Contador pulling away. In the final couple of kilometers, Vincenzo Nibali, from a very reduced group of GC contenders, trying to ride into third place and perhaps get himself a time bonus to minimize the damage.
But it would not be, as they brought him back, and it ended up being a select group behind.
Contador riding in solo and barely looking like he broke a sweat. Ruano in the distance. Contador with the Tifosi at the top.
Very sharp left-hand corner to the last 250-meter uphill kick to the line.
Alberto Contador, after suffering from allergies last couple of days, he attacked late in yesterday's stage, got second place and a time bonus there. A bigger time bonus today by finishing first, winning the stage, and delivering a big statement to the rest of the field. On the second summit finish, with 5 still to come in some bigger mountains in northern Italy, Alberto Contador wins the day, takes over the race lead. Ruano comes across second, and then this was the battle for that final time bonus.
Garzelli trying to take that time bonus for third, but Nibali coming up in the green on the right side of your screen, very close to the line. But I do believe it is Garzelli at the line.
8-second time bonus for third place. And this is the new general classification after 9 days. Alberto Contador at the top. Konstantin Sivtsov, who was with that group late, just inside of a minute back. But check out everybody else. Limavell, Nibali, Scarponi. We come back now to the post-race report presented by SRAM. Alberto Contador of Saxo Bank has won Stage 9, the summit finish to Mount Etna. Contador showing tremendous form despite being bothered by allergies. Also was suffering from a cold in the weeks leading up to the Giro. And he has called this year's Giro d'Italia the hardest race he has ever had to face. But after only 9 days, he's really grabbed it around the throat and taken control.
It really shows just how incredibly talented he is through all of the tribulations that have been going on in his life, all the struggles, the cloud hanging over him. He still has that mental toughness to be at his best on the bike.
Contador these last couple of days making some big moves. Some might have thought that he would have waited till that final week, because he himself said it's those 3 consecutive summit finishes up in northern Italy in that final week that he's really targeting to be at his best. But here he is these last couple of days, the top GC guy, making the big move late to get a second place time bonus yesterday, and then the big 20-second time bonus for winning the stage today.
Yeah, the stages 13, 14, and 15 are those really big days. And then the next day afterwards, 16, the TT. So 4 days in a row that are very, very critical. But we also got to look at the fact that tomorrow is a rest day for these guys. So they have a little bit more time to recover from today's efforts. And I think that's part of the reason why we saw Contador go so big today.
Well, he puts on the pink jersey. Not an unfamiliar feeling for Alberto Contador. Wore it back in 2008 when he won this Giro d'Italia. And for everybody else, strategically, psychologically, you wonder what they're going to start thinking as Contador brings his daughter up on stage with him. Because outside of Konstantin Sivtsov, who is just 1 second inside of a minute back, everybody else, Nibali, Scarponi, Roman Kreuziger, they're all over a minute back. Contador is obviously good in the mountains. He's maybe the best time trialist in the field. Where are they going to take back time?
It's going to be really tough. I mean, honestly, with his allergy situation, today was a really good day for that, because they were in all these lava fields, so there wouldn't be as much pollen. But He's certainly pleased to be in the pink jersey, and I don't know where they're going to take time. They're certainly not going to out-climb the man. They're not going to out-time trial him, so they're going to have to look for other opportunities, big breakaway moves, and just go for broke.
And they're going to have to hope that Contador just has a bad day. And here at the Grand Tours, he is showing